know how we can find the square of a number, we can try to understand what square roots are. This is a topic which many students find really difficult to understand. So here's a chance to understand this topic well and score better. Consider any number. Say 4. 4 when squared gives us 16. And the square root of 16 gives us 4. Well, that's your concept. Now we shall see how we represent square roots. This is how we would represent the square of 4. 4 raised to 2. 2 is called the power and 4 is the base. Now how do we represent the square root of 4? Well, this is how we write it. This symbol is called the radical or the square root, and the number inside this symbol is called the radicand or the base. That's the first thing we learned, how to represent a square root. But here's a simple way to remember it. We know that 5 squared is 25. This 2, when transposed to the other side, becomes a square root. So we can say that the square root of 25 is 5. Now let's look at something really interesting about the square roots. What's the square root of 16? Yes, it's 4. This means that if we square 4, we will get what is under this radical. Similarly, the square root of 256 is 16. If we square this, we will get this. Now let's try playing with these numbers. Let's try writing 16 in exponential form. We know that 16 can be written as 2 raised to 4. So the square root of 16 can be written as the square root of 2 raised to 4. It's the same thing as the square root of 16. Can it be written in some other way? Yes, it can also be written as square root of 4 raised to 2. We just wrote 16 in two different ways, 2 raised to 4 and 4 raised to 2. Now let's try writing the number 4 in different ways. 4 can be written as 2 squared, hence this will equal 2 squared. The number 4 can also be written as 4 raised to 1, hence this would equal 4 raised to 1. Just look at these things now. What do you observe? What happens to the base and what happens to the exponent? Let's look at the first example. The base remains the same, but the exponent is halved. It's divided by 2. Now let's move on to the next expression. Again, the base remains the same and the exponent is halved. Does this work every time? Let's see. This can be written as square root of 2 raised to 8. Or maybe even square root of 4 raised to 4. And 16 can be written as 2 raised to 4 and even 4 raised to 2. In this case, the base remained the same and the exponent was halved. And in this case too, the exponent was halved. So remember, when you have a number in exponential form and you want to find its square root, just keep the base same and halve the exponent. Find the square root of any number is to use a calculator. But if you're asked to find the square root of a number without using a calculator, there are two ways in which we can do it. The first method is phenomenally simple. It's called the prime factorization method. We will look at the second method in the coming videos. If you have watched the previous video, you should be familiar with what square roots are. So we can look at square roots of slightly larger numbers in this video. So we want to find the square root of 225. Our aim is very simple. We have to reduce this number to its prime factors. That's all. How do we do it? Before we go ahead, let us revise what prime numbers are. A prime number is a number which is divisible only by itself and 1. Say 5. 5 is divisible by 1 and it's divisible by 5. there's no other number which can divide 5. 1 and itself. Hence, it's a prime number. Let's consider 8. 8 is divisible by 1, 2, 4 and 8. Apart from 1 and itself, it's also divisible by 2 and 4. Hence, it's not a prime number. So let us start reducing the number 225 into prime factors. Prime factors are the factors of this number which are prime. We can write 225 as 5 multiplied by 45. 5 is prime, but 45 isn't. So let's reduce 45 further and write 225 as 5 times 5 times 9. We wrote 45 as 5 times 9. 5 is a prime factor, but 9 isn't. 9 can be written as 3 times 3. Hence, 225 can be written as 5 times 5 times 3 times 3. In this way, we reduced 225 into its prime factors. This was simple, but is it the quickest way? No. Let's look at a quicker way. We write 225 like this and draw 2 lines here, like this. 225 is divisible by 5, so we write a 5 here. We just write the prime factors in this column. 5 multiplied by 45 gives us 225. 45 is not prime, hence we continue with this process. 45 is also divisible by 5, hence we write a 5 here. And 5 multiplied by 9 gives us 45. 9 is not prime, and we can say that 3 multiplied by 3 equals 9. That's where we stop, when we get a prime factor here. So if we look carefully, we have got all the prime factors. 5 times 5 times 3 times 3. Why do I say this method is faster? Look at the first 5 in this method. We continue to write it every step. Then we repeat the 5 times 5 we got in this step in the third step. Many of the numbers are repeated in every step, and hence there's a bit of a redundancy. If you really want to know how tedious this method can get, try reducing 216 into its prime factors. By now, we should be fairly comfortable with prime factorization. But now we're getting to the most important point. How will this help us find the square root of 225? You will not believe how simple it is. We write this as square root of 5 times 5 times 3 times 3. We have to make groups of 2 same numbers. This can be our first group, 5 and 5. We can make another group, 3 and 3. We basically formed pairs of same numbers. So we have 2 pairs of same numbers here, 5 and 5 and 3 and 3. Once we form pairs, to find the square root, all we have to do is pick one number from each pair and multiply them. So from the first pair, we pick 5, and from the second pair, we pick 3. And we multiply 5 and 3, which gives us 15. At first, this seems long, but with practice, it gets very simple. Hence, we can say that the square root of 225 is 15. All we did is broke down the number to its prime factors, made pairs, chose one number from each pair, and multiplied them. In the next part of this video, we will see how we can find the square root of 11,025 using this method. Now let's try finding the square root of 11,025 using the prime factorization method. Hence, our aim would be to reduce 11,025 into its prime factors. So we write 11,025 here and draw 2 lines like this. If we know the rules of divisibility well, we can say that this number is divisible by 3, 5 and 7. So we can start with any prime number. Say 5. So 5 multiplied by 2,205 gives us 11,025. This number again is divisible by 5. Hence, we write a 5 here. And 5 multiplied by 441 gives us 2205. Of course, you would take a bit more time to find the numbers here, but that's perfectly alright. And remember, we keep just the prime factors on the left-hand side. Now since 441 is divisible by 3, let us write 3 here. And 3 multiplied by 147 gives us 441. This number is also divisible by 3. And 3 multiplied by 49 equals 147. And the only prime number 49 is divisible by is 7. And 7 multiplied by 7 is 49. And yes, we stop here since 7 is a prime number. So 11,025 can be written as 5 times 5 times 3 times 3 times 7 times 7. Hence, the square root of 11,025 can be written as square root of 5 times 5 times 3 times 3 times 7 times 7. The next step is to make pairs of the same numbers. And after we find the pairs, we choose one number from each pair. So we have 3 pairs here. A pair of 5s, a pair of 3s, and a pair of 7s. We choose one number from each pair. So from the first pair, we choose 5. From the second pair, we choose 3. And from the third pair, we choose a 7. And to find the square root, all we have to do is multiply these numbers. 5 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 7 equals 105. Hence, the square root of 11,025 is 105. This part of the problem where we choose one number from each pair is really simple. What we really need to be good at is finding out the prime factors quickly. Here's another interesting thing you need to know. Finding the prime factors of large numbers can be difficult and tedious. So yes, there is a better way to find them, which we will see in the coming videos. There are 2 ways to solve for the square root of a number. We can either use a calculator, of course, everybody would love to use this option, and the other way is to solve it manually. Manually too, we can solve it in 2 different ways. One, by using the prime factorization method, which we have already seen. We split the number to its prime factors and then choose one number from each pair. The other method, which we will look at in this video, is called the long division method. The name sounds fancy, but don't worry, if you follow the steps given in this video, you will never go wrong. But why can't we just use prime factorization every time? Well, if the number is large, it will take us a lot of time to reduce it to its prime factors, and the chances of going wrong are very high. Hence, prime factorization is useful only for small numbers. And for large numbers, we can use the long division method. Let's solve a couple of examples to understand how the long division method works. Look at the number 8,281. If we have to reduce this number to its prime factors, we would first have to think of all the divisibility rules and so on, and that would take us a lot of time. So for such large numbers, we use the long division method. The first thing we need to do in the long division method is to draw lines like this. A line on top and a line to the left of the number. When you draw a line on top of the number, remember to leave some space above the number. Once you're done drawing these lines, you're ready for the first step. The first step is to mark pairs of digits from the unit's end. The unit's end is the number 1. So we mark pairs of digits from right hand side. This becomes our first pair from the right, the number 81. We continue to mark pairs till we cover all digits of the number. The next pair will be 82. So the first step was simple. We just mark pairs from the right, which gives us 2 pairs, 82 and 81. Now we look at the first pair from the left, which is 82. In the second step, we have to find the perfect square which is equal to or lower than 82. Since 82 is not a perfect square, we choose the perfect square lower than 82. The perfect square just lower than 82 is 81. Even 64 is a perfect square lower than 82, but remember, we always choose the one which is closest. We know that 9 squared equals 81. We just found out the most crucial number. It's the number 9. 9 is basically the square root of the closest perfect square. We write the number 9 here to the left of the number. This was actually the most important step of the long division process, to find the first number. The next step is one of the easiest steps, but it's a step where most of the students get confused. The step says multiply above and add below. But what do we multiply and what do we add? It is the same number, 9. Let's focus on multiplying above first. We multiply 9 with 9 and write the product here. So the 9 you are multiplying is written on top. Now let's come to add below. We add 9 with 9 and write the sum underneath. 9 plus 9 gives us 18. We multiply the same number with itself above and wrote the product here. And we added the same number with itself and wrote the sum here. Remember, when we multiply or add, we're doing the operation with the same digit. In this case, it's 9. So we have completed 3 steps. First, we found the pairs from the right. Second, we found the perfect square and wrote its square root here. Third, we multiplied above and added below. If you observed it well, you could see that I have left some space next to the sum of 9s. That space is kept for the box. So we draw an empty box here, and inside this box we will be writing some digit. Our next aim is to find this digit. The next 3 steps are super simple. We just subtract the product from the number above it. The product we got was 81. The number above it is 82. We subtract 81 from 82 and get 1. And then we get the next pair down. The next pair is 81, so we write it next to 1. Then we draw the same box above and below. Above, we draw it next to 9, and below, we draw it under the original box. The digits contained in each of these boxes are the same. The next step, according to me, is the most interesting step of the long division method. We use trial and error to find the digit in the boxes. We look for the product of 2 numbers, which gives us 181. This is how the product should look. What number do you think we can write in the boxes to get 181 as our product? Remember, the digits in both the boxes have to be the same. Yes, 181 multiplied by 1 gives us 181. So we have found the digit in the boxes. It's 1. After we find this digit, we go back to the third step and follow the same procedure. Multiply above. So we write a 1 and a 1 in these 2 boxes and get the product of 181 and 1 as 181. Then we add below. We add 1 to 181 and get 182. Then we subtract the product from the number above it. So we subtract 181 from 181 and get a 0. The moment we get a 0 here and there are no more pairs left, we are done. But wait, where's the square root of 8281? Well, it's the number you got on top. It's 91. The square root of 8281 is 91. Trust me, it's not difficult. It's just a little lengthy. Let's review what we just did. We marked pairs from the unit's end, which gave us 2 pairs, 82 and 81. Then we choose a perfect square which is equal to or lower than the leftmost pair, 82. We found out that 81 is the closest square. We write its square root to the left. Then we multiply it above. 9 multiplied by 9 equals 81. And added below, 9 plus 9 equals 18. And with 18, we leave space for one more digit. Then we reach the 3 simple steps. First, we subtract the product. 82 minus 81 gives us 1. Second, we get the next pair down. And then we draw the same box above and below, which will contain the same digit as the original box. And to find the digit in the boxes, we use trial and error and get 181 multiplied by 1 as 181. So the number in the box will be 1. After we find the number in the box, we go back to the third step. We multiply above. 181 multiplied by 1 gives us 181. Then we add the same digit below. 181 plus 1 equals 182. Then we subtract the product. 181 minus 181 gives us 0. And since there's no pair left, we stop and get the square root as 91. Remember, inside the two lines, we always subtract, and outside, we always add. To get a better idea, see the second part of this video in which we have solved for the square root of another number using the same procedure. This is where we left off in the last video. We followed these steps to get the square root of 8281 as 91. Now let's try solving for the square root of 6084. Before we start off with the steps, remember to draw lines like these next to the number. After this, go to the first step. We mark pairs from the units end. So we draw bars over 84 and 60. So the two pairs we have are 60 and 84. Now we look for a perfect square which is equal or just lower than the first pair. The first pair is 60. Since 60 is not a perfect square, we look for a square closer to it. 49 is a perfect square close to 60, so is 64. But remember, we choose the perfect square closest and just lower. So 49 is the perfect square we're looking for. And we have to write the square root of this perfect square here. We know that 7 squared is 49, and hence we write a 7 here. You should know that finding the first number is the most important step of this process. If we go wrong here, then the rest of it will definitely be wrong. In the next step, we multiply above and write the product here. So 7 multiplied by 7 gives us 49. And then we add below and draw a box next to it. 7 plus 7 gives us 14. And we leave some space for the box. Next, we follow out 3 simple steps. Subtract product. 60 minus 49 gives us 11. Then we get the next pair, which is 84 down. Then we draw the same box above and below. And at last, we reach our favorite step, finding the digit in these boxes by trial and error. We want the product of two numbers to be equal to 1184. But the product will look something like this. And we have to use trial and error to find the digit in these boxes. Okay, now here's a trick you need to remember. This trick can be used only when there are no more pairs left. Here, since 84 was the last pair we brought down, we can use this trick. We know all the boxes contain the same digit and any digit from 0 to 9 can be in it. That doesn't mean we try all digits one by one starting from 0 until we reach 9. Look at the units digit of the result we want. It's 4. So the product of the two digits in the boxes must have 4 as the units digit. So we narrow down our possibilities to just two choices. 2 times 2 equals 4 or 8 times 8 equals 64. Both have the units digit as 4. It will either be 142 times 2 or 148 times 8. The digit in the box will either be 2 or 8. The first product gives us 284 and the second product gives us 1184. Exactly what we wanted. The digit in the boxes will be 8. After we find the digit in the box, we go back to the third step. We multiply above. 148 multiplied by 8 equals 1184, and then we add below. 148 plus 8 gives us 156. Then we subtract the product we got from the number above it. 1184 minus 1184 equals 0. We stop since there are no more pairs left in the number. The number at the top is the square root. We get the square root of 6084 as 78. How do we check if our answer is correct? One way is to multiply the answer with itself and see if we get the original number. The other way is interesting. This number here will always be twice of the answer. 156 is 78 multiplied by 2. In the previous example 2, 182 is the double of 91. Wait a moment. What if we had 5 digits in our number? After choosing 2 pairs, only 1 digit will be left. We will see an example based on 5 digits in another video.